Hello and welcome to this course, Svelte with Test-Driven Development. My name is Başar Büyükkahraman. In this course, we will be building a web application with Svelte, most popular framework of 2020 in terms of developer satisfaction. So it is passing the React and taking the first spot in this survey. And we are going to apply test-driven development methodology. Each requirement will have its test, and we won't be doing any implementation before adding test. In the resources of this course, you will find the Node.js backend application. This is going to be helping us to implement our web client with Svelte. We will not imagine how the client will work with backend. We will practice it. Now let's see the application. We will have multiple pages. This is home page, we have sign up page, we have login page, and also in home page we have this user list, and when we click one of them, it opens the user page. In this application we have internationalization support. We are supporting different languages and we can toggle between the languages. And also we have language support in the backend. So if I change the language and send a request, we will be receiving the response in that language. Now let's check the functionality here. So in this homepage we have this user list. We have 3 users, but we have this next button, so we can navigate to next page for this user list. And we can go back and forth in this list. And let's sign up for a new user. Currently there are 25 users in this application, so just adding a new one, user 26, and going with this mail address. And we have this client-side validation too, to show the password is not matching, and the button is also disabled when the password does not match. So sending this request. So it is saying check your email to activate your account. The backend is not sending an email, but you can check the console log of it. Here it is saying open this link to activate your account. So if it would be sending an email to this user, this registered user, that email would be containing this link. And let's paste it here. Here it is saying the account is activated, and if we navigate in this list to the last one, here we have this user 26. And we can log in with this user 26 at mail.com, password. And the page is redirected. And we have the new layout on navigation bar. And when we click this one, we are opening that user page. So the application is simple, but it is showing lots of details about how the Svelte is working, how we can introduce client-side routing, how we can introduce internationalization, how we can interact with the form elements, how we can click the buttons, how we can display things conditionally. So in this course, we will be building this application, and all of these requirements will help us to practice the Svelte functionality. Also, since we are applying the test-driven development, we will have lots of test cases written in this course, and let's run all of them. So we have this much test cases and all of them are passing. So we are testing lots of things in this application, and we will see how the test-driven development is giving us confidence when we are refactoring our application, and how it is helping us to write clean code and more maintainable application. So let's start building this application and let's learn Svelte and test-driven development. We will follow test-driven development methodology in this course. This means we will write our test code before implementing the requirement. Test-driven development, the TDD, will be guiding us to clarify what we are implementing and how we are implementing it. It has cycle of red, green, refactor phases. In the red phase, we will be laying out the requirement with the test code we are writing. There is no implementation for passing that test at that moment. Then, we implement the code that does the requirement. We run the tests and see if our implementation is passing the test or not. If we are passing, then we complete green phase. Then, for refactor phase, we can change our implementation until we satisfy without breaking existing functionality. These 3 steps are letting us to be aware what we are implementing, to make sure that our new implementation will not break our previous tests, and to write clean and reusable code. Now let's create the Svelte project. We are going to create our project based on a template. And the template is right here. We are going to clone this repository, but we are not going to clone whole Git history of it. And we do that by running an npm package. We are going to clone this repository with the command degit, but to execute that one, we need to run it with the npx degit. If you don't have the npx installed in your workstation, you can install it like this: npm install g. This will be installing that package globally, and the package name is this npx. So if you don't have the npx, then you can install it like that. Now we are going to create the project based on the template, so we will run npx. The clone command is the degit. And we are going to give the path name for this template, which is right here, Svelte.js forward template, Svelte.js forward template. And then we can give a name for our project folder. I'm going to use the name source. You can give the name you want. So basically this is creating this folder, having the files right here, and these files are cloned from this repo. Now let's open this folder in Visual Studio Code. I'm opening it like this. The VS Code is in my path. I can execute the VS Code like this. And the project is opened here. First, let's check the package.json. We have these development dependencies, so let's install them. For that, we will run npm install. So it's going to be installing all the dependencies in our package.json. Now the dependencies are installed. Now we are going to run our application. We will run it in the development mode, and we can run this script right here, npm run dev. So let's do that. Here in the console, running npm run dev, and it is saying the application is ready, and we can access that application with this URL. Just copying it and opening in the browser. Here we are seeing this page having this hello world, and it is saying this: visit this Svelte tutorial page to learn how to build Svelte apps. This is running the application with this rollup. Rollup is a bundling library similar to Webpack, and it's created by the creator of the Svelte. And it has this rollup configuration. We will be playing with this part later. We are not going to go into too much details about the rollup, but we are just going to focus mostly to the Svelte. When we run the npm run dev in the console, it is serving the files under this public directory. This build folder is dynamically created based on our source scripts right here, and basically it is inserted into this index.html, and we are serving this index.html right here. So we have this file. It is looking for this bundle.js, which is generated here. And here we see it's the title of the page, Svelte. We can change it to anything else. Let's try that. My app. And here the application is restarted and the title is changed. And this part is coming from here in the src. Here we have the main JS, and here it is importing this app Svelte file, this one, and it is creating a new instance, passing an prop to it, like this one. If we change it, this world to something else, let's say hello there, and here we can see updated the page. And if we check the content of this app Svelte, here we can see we are having this script block, and we have a property definition right here. It is saying we will have a name property. This is how you describe the properties in a component in Svelte. And here we were setting the name as there, and we are taking the name right here and using in this h1. So this part is basically the elements we are seeing on this page, and we can play with this and we can remove this one, and here this one is gone. Or we can create our own components. Let's add one. Let's say this is a temp file, temp Svelte, and it has another header in it. This is temp, and let's use it in our app Svelte, and we can do it like this. We can import the temp from this temp.svelte, and just like in a regular HTML element, we can use our own element right here. So here under the h1 we have our this is temp part. This one is coming from this component. For now, I'm just leaving the introduction part at this step. We will learn the Svelte functionalities, and we will see how we can create reusable components on our course project. We are going to apply test-driven development in this course, so we need to have a test runner. We are going to use Jest for this. But Jest is not just enough for the Svelte tests. We also need to render our components. We need to check how that component is behaving after our actions. So we need to render them. And for that, we are going to use another library, and that is this testing library. This testing library is supporting a couple of frameworks like the React, Vue, Angular, and here it is also supporting the Svelte. The power of this testing library is it is leading us to write the test just like a real user is using our application. We will also install additional dependencies of this library, and one of them is going to be this user event, and this user event is for the user actions like typing something to a text box, clicking a button, or any other user events we need in our application. And the other dependency is this Jest DOM, and it is extending the matching capabilities of the Jest. This is more about the DOM related matching functions. Jest is not just specific to the web applications. We can use it in the Node applications too, but in this course we are building a web application, which means it is going to be a document object model. Therefore, this Jest DOM extension is bringing more meaningful matching functionalities, like if a component, if an element is visible on the page, or if it is in the document or not. So let's install these dependencies. In our project folder, I'm going to run npm install --save-dev. These are development dependencies. By the way, instead of typing like this, we can just go with install dash uppercase D, and we can also replace the install with just I. So this is installing development dependencies command in shorter form. Now we are going to install jest. And we can install multiple packages. The next one is let's show it here. We are going to install this testing library for the Svelte, and here it is saying the package name is this one at testing-library/Svelte. Just copying it and pasting here, and we are going to install this user event here, just copying this one and pasting here, and the last one is this jest DOM and pasting it here. Now the packages are installed. Going back to the VS Code. Now let's add a test script to our application. Let's add a script right here. The name of the script will be test, and we are going to run jest in -- watch mode. So just like our development script, which is watching our application, watching our source code changes and automatically restarting our application on the browser, the jest has similar functionality. It is just checking the changes in the source of this project, and if anything is changed, it's running the tests once again. So we will have this script right here, saving this one, and in console running npm run test, or for the test, which is a special keyword in npm scripts, we don't need to use the run, and we can just run npm test. So the jest is running in watch mode, and here we are seeing this message: no tests found related to files changed since last commit. Now in this application we are going to build a sign up page, and we will be building a login page, and we will have home page, and we will have user pages. So we will start our implementation with the sign up page, and first let's start with that page and corresponding test module for it. Just creating a new folder under src, and I'm just naming it as pages, and in this pages we will have sign up page Svelte. This is going to be our sign up page, and in this folder I'm going to create the test module. Jest is automatically detecting the test files in our project, and it is following a naming convention for that one. We can either use .spec.js or .test.js in our test modules. So for this sign up page, my test module name will be something like this one, sign up page. Again, we can either go with the spec.js or test.js. I choose to go with the spec.js because in our test modules we are defining the specifications of our component. So I find this name more suits to what we are doing. So I'm creating my module name with this name. And as soon as I add this file, the test is automatically running. But it is failing because this test suite does not have anything in it. And the warning is saying your test suite must contain at least one test. And let's create our first test. For test functions, we have two options. One of the options is to run the test functions, and the first parameter is this is the description part, And the next part is a function. So this is a function. And in this function, we will implement our test code here. So instead of this function, we can go with the arrow function like that. That's how I'm going to continue. But alternatively, instead of this test, we can use another function, which is it. And I would like to use this it because with this it and the description, we can create a sentence like the descriptions. Like this, it is referring to the sign up page. And in this test, we can say it has sign up header. So when we read this test, we can see that in the sign up page, we will have a sign up header. First of all, we need our sign up page. Let's import that one. Sign up page from this sign up page.svelte. They are at the same folder. So the current folder and the Svelte file name. And we need another package here. And that is coming from our dependency testing library Svelte, and that function is the render. So in this test, we will render this sign up page. Now we are going to check if this page contains this sign up header, and we do that with another dependency from this testing library, and that is screen. This is representing what we are seeing on our page, and it has functionalities for querying the elements, and we will use the queries coming with this screen. And one of the query is screen get by role. These roles are for the accessibility roles, and the role definition is this is going to be a heading role. We don't care if this is H1, H2, H6, whatever. We just care there will be a header, this heading element, and it will have, we will be querying this heading by a value we are looking for in it, and we do that by providing this options object. And in this options, we will pass a name. This is the content of the heading, and the name will be sign up. So let's say this is the header. This is returning the element back. So we have this element right here, and we can confirm if this is exist or not, and we do that by running this expect function coming with the jest, and we expect this header to be true. So in JavaScript, if this header has any value, that means it is true. If it is null, then it is false. So we just care if there is anything returning for this query. Now let's save this. Now the test is failing, and the reason is cannot use import statement outside a module. We have this error here, and the reason is it is showing us the couple of guidance steps right here. And the main reason of this one is we are importing this Svelte file here, which is this sign up page, and Jest is not able to process this Svelte file. We need to transform this file, this Svelte file, to something Jest can process. And we do that by another dependency. So killing this test console, and I am going to install another dependency. This is again another development dependency, npm i-d, and this is Svelte svelte-jester. Now we are going to configure the jest to make sure it is transforming these Svelte files before running our tests, and we do that configuration right here in the package.json. Here we can add another property which is for jest, and we can define the configuration for it. And one of the configuration we are going to set right here is transform, and we can transform multiple file types. So we pass an object here, and we are going to define which type of files, and for our case we are going to define this part with regex. The regex is like this. So this is the file names ending with svelte will be transformed with the dependency we just installed, svelte-jester. Now saving this one, and let's run the test again. So the test is failing once again. The reason is we are overriding the configuration of the jest. There is this transform property, but jest by default has its own default transform functionality. Now we are overriding that functionality, and when jest is trying to run this file, this test module, this is using ES6 features like this import, and it cannot automatically detect the ES6 features of the JavaScript modules. For jest transform, the default is actually babel-jest, but now we are setting our own transform field here, and that is overriding the default. Now we need to make sure these JavaScript files to be also transformed to pre-ES6 version so that jest can run them. So again, we will install a couple of dependencies. Again, these are development dependencies, npm i-d, and we will install babel-jest. And we have another dependency, babel/preset-env. So just like transforming the Svelte extension files with the Svelte-jester, we will also transform the JavaScript files with the Babel. So here adding another transform here, and this time we will be looking for the files ending with JS, and we will be using babel-jest. But we also need to configure the Babel, and we do that by adding a configuration file right in this root folder where the package.json is, and that file is babel.config.js. And in this module we will be exporting an object. This is the configuration object for the Babel, and for the presets we will be passing an array, and in this array we will have at babel/preset-env, and this as the second parameter, and which is object. We are targeting node current. So saving this one. Now we configured Babel for the JavaScript modules. We configured Svelte-jester for the Svelte files. Now let's run the test once again. npm test. Now the test is failing once again, but this time this is failing not because of the environment, but our sign-up page doesn't have this sign-up header in it. So it is unable to access to a heading having this sign-up text in it. So that's why it is showing this error. Now it is time to fix this. And we can fix this by just adding an h1 right here, and it will have the value of sign up. Saving this one. And here the test is passing. Now we are building a web application, and normally the web applications are visible in a web browser. But in this test environment, instead of browser, we have a library called as JS DOM, JavaScript DOM. So it's not just like a fully browser, but it's able to render the elements, it's able to interact with the elements, and we can do lots of things we do in the browser in this JS DOM. And as you remember, we have installed this dependency, this one, just DOM. And instead of checking the existence of header like this, if like to be treaty, instead of this one, we can use this just DOM matchers. And first we need to import the testing library just DOM right here. We import it like this one. Now we can say, instead of treaty, we expect this header to be in the document. So let's save this. And again, the tests are passing. And if we would be checking the non-existence of this header, then we can be using something like this one. We expect this header not to be in the document. Obviously, this is going to fail because in sign-up page we have this header, and here we are receiving the error. We expect this element not to be in the document, but it found the h1 having this sign up. So saving this one more time. Now let's use this component, this sign up page, in our application. Currently we don't see anything changed on the browser because even we have this sign up page, we are not using it anywhere. So let's use it here, sign up page from pages / sign up page Svelte. And let's use it here. Let's just use the sign up page on the app, and let's get rid of the style, and let's remove this property, saving it. And here we are seeing the sign up. Since we are not using the CSSs for now, we can just remove the one right here, the global CSS. We are not using that one. Removing that one from here, and also updating this index HTML and removing the global CSS from the link part here. So in this part we created our test environment and we have seen how it is working. This part may seem a bit confusing. We installed a couple of dependencies and we have some configurations right here. But once you do this part, you don't need to come back and play with it. Now we are not using the temp Svelte anymore, so let's remove that one too. Now we have our environment ready and we will start building our application with test-driven development. For the development environment, I'm using two extensions. One of them is in the VS Code, and here in a Svelte file we are seeing this syntax highlighting, and this is coming with this extension, this Svelte for VS Code. So this is showing warnings or showing errors in your component, and this can highlight the unused CSS or unused properties. So this is helpful for the development environment. And the other extension is for the browser. In Chrome, I have this Svelte extension, and this is basically showing the tree of the components. And here in our application we have the app, and in this app we have the sign up page, and we can see the same thing right here. Here we have the app. Under the app we have the sign up page, and in sign up page we have the H1, and this in H1 we have the sign up text in it. So for troubleshooting the application, how the props are set, what is the current state of the component, so this extension can be used to debug those parts. So I highly recommend to install these extensions to your environment.